بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد, I wanted to talk to you guys about a hadith I've heard. Okay, a hadith I've heard from a lecture that I listened to quite a few times. And something doesn't sometimes sink in until you've heard it so many times. Sometimes eventually you think, subhanAllah, it's like I've never heard this before. And it's not 20 advices from Rasulullah. Technically, he only added 5. He only added 5 to the advices, the characteristics. And it's advices of when in the Am al-Wufud, it's called Am al-Wufud, the year of delegations. So when, after Fatah Mecca, when Mecca was open, a lot of delegations came. A lot of people started accepting Islam in multitude. So when they started accepting Islam, a lot of people that had accepted Islam before but had not come to see Rasulullah come to see him. One of these tribes was Al Azd. Okay, it's a tribe called Al Azd. And the Ansar, okay, is a branch of Al Azd. So 7 men from Al Azd came to see Rasulullah. And the lafz of the hadith goes, فَلَمَّا دَخَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ فَكَلَّمْنَاهُ أَعْجَبَهُ مَا رَأَى مِنْ صَمْتِنَا وَزِيِّنَا. He said, when we came in and we spoke to him, this is the men from Al Azd narrating this. They said, when we came in and we met Rasulullah and we spoke to him, he became, he became happy with our almost characteristics and silenceness and our beauty from what, their manners and their characters and the way they was going about their business. So Rasulullah, he said to them, فَقَالَ مَا أَنْتُمْ. He said to him, what are you? And they said, قُلْنَا مُؤْمِنُونَ. We are mu'minun. They said, إيش? We are mu'minun. فَتَبَسَّمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. Rasulullah smiled. He smiled. And he said to them, إِنَّ لِكُلِّ قَوْلٍ حَقِيقَةً فَمَا حَقِيقَةِ قَوْلِكُمْ وَإِيمَانِكُمْ. He said, indeed, every single statement has a reality to it. They said, what? We are mu'minun, right? He said, what are you? They said, we are mu'minun. So I said to them, after he smiled, he said, every single statement has a haqiqah to it. It has a reality to it. So what's the reality of what you're saying? قُلْنَا 15 خصلة. They said 15 characteristics. 5 منها أمرتنا رسلك أن نؤمن بها. 5 of them were commanded to us by your prophets that we should believe in it. وخمس أمرتنا بها وخمسة تخلقنا بها في الجاهلية فنحن عليها إلا أن تكره منها شيء. So he said what? 5 are commanded to us by your messengers. 5 is commanded to us by yourself. And 5 is manners that we had from Jahiliyyah. Okay? So Rasulullah wanted to know. He said, what's, the haqiqah, what's the reality of what you're saying? And then they came with this. They said 15 characteristics that we have. So 5, your prophets, your messengers told us to do it, to believe in it. 5 that you told us to act upon it. And 5 manners that we had from Al-Jahiliyyah. As you can see here, there's belief, and on top of it there is action, and then there is manners. And Rasulullah at the end, he gives them 5 things to stay away from. So you can see here, there's like a shamil of the whole deen almost, which is belief, and you have to do amal, and then you have to what? Have manners about going out and doing those actions, and you have to have nawahi, this thing that you should stay away from in the deen. So after Rasulullah spoke to them about this, they started quoting basically now the 5s. So they said, so Rasulullah said, وَمَا الْخَمْسُ الَّتِي أَمَرَتْكُمْ رُسُلِي أَن تُؤْمِنُوا بِهَا. What is the 5 that my messengers have told you to believe in? And then what did they start quoting? He said, they said Al-Arkan Al-Khamsa. Al-Arkan Al-Iman Khamsa. You find in the books Arkan Al-Iman Sitta, but this one is, they take out Al-Qadr. Okay, so they said what? قلنا أمرتنا أن نؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله والبعث بعد الموت. They said, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? Believe in His angels. Believe in His books. Believe in His messengers. And believe that you're going to be resurrected once you die. Once you die, you're going to be resurrected. To believe in this is your belief. Okay? And then Rasulullah proceedingly asked them, وَمَا الْخَمْسَ الَّتِي أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ أَن تَعْمَلَ بِهَا. So Rasulullah asked them, he said, what is the 5 that I have asked you guys to practice or to do? And they said, أَمَرْتَنَا أَن نَقُولَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. You have prescribed on us, you've told us to say لا إله إلا الله ونقيم الصلاة, to pray our prayers, ونؤتي الزكاة ونصوم رمضان ونحج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. So they said, you have told us to say لا إله إلا الله, to pray our salah, to give the zakah, to fast in Ramadan, and to make hajj if you're able to. After they said this and they spoke about these Al-Arkan Al-Iman and Islam, Rasulullah asked them, وَالْمَا الْخَمْسَ الَّتِي تَخَلَّقْتُمْ بِهَا فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. What is the 5 that you have had as manners in Jahiliyyah? And then they said, number 1, الشكر عند الرخاء. الشكر عند الرخاء. To be thankful, to be grateful in times of ease. والصبر عند البلاء. To be patient in times of difficulty. والرضا بمر القضاء. To be pleased with destiny. Okay? To be happy with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. Number 4. اللهم صل على محمد. Yes. الصدق في مواطن اللقاء. To be truthful when the enemies meet. And the 5th one is اللهم صل على محمد. The 5th one is وترك الشماتة بالعداء. And to not to take, to take cruel joy out of our enemies. Okay? When they go to war with them, even they have manners, even when it comes to rules of engagement. After they said this, Rasulullah said about them, حكماء علماء حكماء علماء كادوا من فقههم أن يكونوا أنبياء. Rasulullah said about them, these are wise people, and because of their wiseness they have almost become prophets because of it. After Rasulullah heard this and they said, what is the haqiqah of your qawl? They said what? Al-Iman, wal-Islam, and the manners. And Rasulullah praised them after that. He said, حكماء علماء. حكماء, they are wise. علماء كادوا من فقههم أن يكونوا أنبياء. And after that he said what? وأنا أزيدكم 5 فيتم لكم 20 خصلة. He said, I will add 5 on for you guys. I will give you 5 extra, so you have 20. You finish off with 20. And he quoted, فَلَا تَجْمَعُوا مَا لَا تَأْكُلُونَ. Do not collect what you will not eat. And we'll take out the fawaid from this meeting that he had with Al Azd at the end. He said, do not collect what you will not eat. فَلَا تَجْمَعُوا مَا لَا تَأْكُلُونَ. وَلَا تَبْنُوا مَا لَا تَسْكُنُونَ. And don't build things that you'll never live in. وَلَا تَبْنُوا مَا لَا تَسْكُنُونَ. وَلَا تَنَافَسُوا فِي شَيْءٍ أَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَدًا تَزُولُونَ. And do not race, do not, compete with each other in things that tomorrow you're going to leave behind. Don't compete with each other in things that tomorrow when you die, you're going to leave this thing behind, Number 4, he said, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. وإليه تعرضون. He said, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are going to return to on the day of judgment. You're going to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. And then also your actions are going to be presented to Him. Not only are you going to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He's prepared for you, regardless of His hellfire or of His Jannah, and your actions, nothing's going to be hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He said, وَارْغَبُوا فِيمَا أَنْتُمْ تُسِيرُونَ. عليه الصلاة والسلام, He said, وَارْغَبُوا فِيمَا عَلَيْهِ تَقْدِمُونَ وَإِفِيهِ تَخْرُجُونَ. And He said, and seek and chase that what you are going towards. What are we all going towards? Death. We're all going towards death. اللهم اجعلنا من أهل الجنة. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of Ahl Jannah. But at the end of the day, we're all going to die. We're all going there. And Rasulullah said, fear and get ready for that when you die, yes, and that which you're going to be living in forever. Because when you die, it's hayat khalida. You're not going to die after that. It's the first death. After you die, there's no death after that. It's either Jahannam or Jannah. Yes? فafter that, فانصرف القوم من عند رسول الله وحفظوا وصيته وعملوا بها. That's the end of the hadith. It said the people, they left Rasulullah, the Imam was what he said, and they acted upon it. Wallahi, from this hadith, you can take out so many benefits from this hadith. So many great benefits from this hadith. And this is just something that I realized. The ulama have, they're on a different playing field. They take out things from just huruf, letters, just minor letters. They take out lessons from them. I'm sure amongst you guys, you could ponder over a couple of things that you've thought of now. He said, oh, this hadith, mashallah, I've collected this and this and this and this and this from it. If we take the hadith, khutwa khutwa, if we go back to the very first thing, which is, فَلَمَّا دَخَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ فَكَلَّمْنَاهُ أَعْجَبَهُ مَا رَأَى مِنْ صَمْتِنَا وَزِيِّنَا. When they came in, they saw Rasulullah, Rasulullah saw them. And what is the first thing that he said about them is, أَعْجَبَهُ what? صَمْتِنَا وَزِيِّنَا. Our silence, our quietness. They're not people running around screaming, talking too much, saying things that are not useless, that are useless. So he looked at this and he was أعجبه. It's something, the word أعجبه in Arabic language is something that you like. Is that you mashallah, is very nice. Before that, well, the whole hadith, what can you take from it is, it rhymes first of all. It rhymes and it's very easy to memorize. Rasulullah said, أُوتِيتُ جَوَامِعَ الْكَلِمِ. I've been given جَوَامِعَ الْكَلِمِ. He's been given small words, but very, very deep meaning in it. Small word, but deep meaning in it. And for the ones that understand Arabic language, you can see the daqiq, picking of the language, the picking of the words. So he did, when he saw them, they was mashallah quiet, and he saw the demeanor and their characteristics. He said, "Ma antum, what are you?" He said, "Qulna mu'minun." We're Muslims, we're mu'mins. So smiled. Okay? So being described when he smiles, you don't see his molar teeth. He doesn't smile too profusively. When he smiles, you could just see, it's a grin almost. Yes? So when he saw these people, he smiled because of what they said. And then he gave them a qa'idah afterwards. He gave them a principle. He said, إِنَّ لِكُلِّ قَوْلٍ حَقِيقَةً. Every single thing that people say, it has a haqiqah to it. Sometimes some people can say things and it's just words at the end of the day. They just say things and they don't really live up to it. For example, someone says, I love the brothers. But when he's around them, he feels dayiq in his heart, he feels something for this one. He doesn't enjoy the company for this other one. He feels a bit, disheartened when he's with certain people. You can say something, but you can mean the opposite. Or if you say, I want to memorize the Quran, Allah must say, we want to memorize the Quran. But what's the haqiqah of that qawl? What's the reality of it? Are you taking steps? Are you following? Have you got a shaykh? Are you trying to get somewhere with it? So every qawl has something behind it. If you're not doing it, then your qawl is what? Kadhib. Same way, if you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammadan Rasulullah, you're taken into the fold of Islam amongst the people. But what happens when you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you didn't really act upon it or you didn't really believe it? The haqiqah of what you said came out. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show that it was ish? That was nifaq. Yes? And some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you see the truthfulness in some things that they say, you can tell. You know, some people, that you meet so many different people in your life. Shows here Rasulullah tabassama Rasulullah smiled, and then wallahi I was thinking, it's like maybe a week and a half ago, I was with a brother, and I said to him, if you put Islam to the side, just leave ahkam al-Islam and just deen to the side for 1 second, and let's talk about life in general. What do you get out of life? And I said to him, wallahi, life is comprised for me in terms of 2 things. The first of being the people that you meet. The people that you meet and the experiences that you have. That's what molds you as a person. If you put your Islamic identity just to the side, what molds you is what you've been through. The people that you've met and that you've spent your life with and the experiences that you've had. Wallahi, some people you can be with for your whole life and you don't benefit a single thing from them. You can be with them your whole life. You can spend so many years with them and they would not affect you half as much as somebody that you've met today. Muslim, muttaqi. Yes? And they've affected you in such a way. Such a way that when you speak to this person or you see this person, they change your demeanor. They say, أولياء الله الذين إذا رؤوا تذكرت. You remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Awliya Allah, the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ones who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given His special protection to, and they do everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed and they stay away from everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told them to stay away from. الذين إذا رؤوا, if you see them, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala straight away. Wallahi, I know some brothers, as soon as you look at them, they remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They remind you of akhirah. And it reminds me of the hadith of one of the Ashab of Rasulullah. When he came, he was at home one day and he's feeling a feeling in his heart. And he said, I need to go back to find Rasulullah. And he found him and he looked at him and his heart became tranquil. And then he went out to Rasulullah and he said, when he went home again, he got very upset. He said, he came back the next day, Rasulullah, when I see your face, I become so happy. I mean, I can't live without seeing you in the day. And then I remembered that I was going to die. I remember that when I die, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even puts me into Jannah, you are going to be on the highest plane in Jannah. And me, even if I make it, I'll be lucky. And when I remember this, I become very, very, very sad. Because why? Because you're going to be somewhere and I'm going to be a completely different place. I'm never going to get to see you again. As quick as he said that, Jibreel came down with the ayat. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ in Surah Nisa, and whoever obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger, for indeed He is with the messengers and the shuhada, the sadiqeen and the shuhada. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا, and what great companions they are. So this companion used to walk around and used to say, do you know this ayah was revealed about me? he used to have tafkhir, you know. It shows you that some people, when you meet them, they change you. They change, you know, aspects of your life. You might have been a normal person yesterday, a normal, yani, mashallah, Muslim. The minute they've seen you, or they've spoken to you, or given you some advice, they've changed everything upside down. You think to yourself, subhanallah. Could say something about one of our sheikhs, a lecture I listened to a very long time ago. It's called Legends of Islam. Some of you guys may have heard it. By Sheikh Ahmed Jibril. Wallahi, it's one of the most beautiful lectures I've had in my life. It changed my life upside down. It put me in a different direction. I'd advise every single one of you, if you haven't heard that lecture already, download it and listen to it. One of the most beautiful lectures I've had in my life. Huh? So Rasulullah, he smiled when he saw these people, and he said, "Ma haqiqatu qawlikum?" What's the, you know, the truthfulness of what you're saying? What's the reality of what you're saying? So they came with what? The most important thing first. They came with something. They didn't say, "Oh, you know, we believe, you know, we're saying it, etc. You know, we've come to see you, Rasulullah, we've come to Medina, we've come to, you know, come to see you. This proves that we're mu'minun." No, they gave the name. They said, number one, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we believe in His angels, and we believe in His prophets, and we believe in His books, and we believe in that we're going to be resurrected. This is what your messengers have told us to believe in. And what you have told us to do is to say La ilaha illallah, and to establish the prayer, and to pay the zakat, to fast in Ramadan, and to make hajj if you can. And then the akhlaq. They say khayrukum fil jahiliyyah, khayrukum fil Islam. The best of you in jahiliyyah are the best of you in Islam if you have the right understanding. If you have the right understanding. These people, they had al-Arab, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even picked them for the last message, is they had such great attributes. Even if they were mushrikeen before, they had good attributes. You know, some people, they haven't had Islam come to them yet. But when you see them, when you speak to them, you think, MashaAllah, they're such a good person. This person is perfect. If he just, all he needs to do is embrace Islam. He's already got everything there. You know, good manners. He's, you know, everything that a Muslim is meant to have, this person has got it. Issue is, he needs to embrace, he needs to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these people, their akhlaq, wallahi, mashallah, you can take so many benefits out of what they've said. Al-awwal, and try to remember it because it's easy to memorize. They said, Ash-shukru indal ar-rakha. Ash-shukr, to be thankful when everything is okay. When everything is, you know, there's no problems, I have to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you remember Him. When you're in a good state, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember you when you need His help. There's no point of, you know, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you health, and He's given you wealth, and He's given you everything around you, that you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you don't do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked you to do. Wallahi, uqsum billahi al-azim, we have 24 hours in the day. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you, to give 5 salah in the day. 5 salah. Each one will not take you more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's 25 minutes out of your 24 hours for everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Wallahi, if you would put the ni'mah of just your eyes on the scale, okay, it would outweigh everything. The ni'mah of just your eyes. Imagine if you was blind. It's an experiment for you to go home, and then the minute you step inside your house, close your eyes and try and get about what you do. Just to take off your clothes and get into your bed is a job within itself. The ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He's given you. Did you know the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you just to go to the toilet? Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took that away from you and you couldn't go. You know, some people, they have to have something attached to their bowels, and they have to empty out. They can't go to the toilet normally. Something as small as this, and we overlook it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us so much khair. Look at where you are now. On a Saturday, on half of the country, at least 75% of the country, what are they doing now? Saturday night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you not only to be listening to something that's beneficial, but they made you to be in a masjid. To pray Maghrib and Isha in Jama'ah. And Rasulullah said about Isha, the one who prays in Jama'ah is like he's prayed half of the night Qiyam al-Layl. Half of the night Qiyam al-Layl for the one who prays Isha in Jama'ah. And the one who prays Fajr in Jama'ah, half, the other half. So you get the whole night of Qiyam al-Layl just for coming to the masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with something like this. To give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. In the ayah in Surah Saba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اعملوا آل داود شكرا وقليل من عبادي الشكور. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Al Dawood, the family of Dawood, do thankfulness. Do thankfulness to the family of Dawood, وَقَلِيلٌ مِنْ عِبَادِيَ الشُّكُورِ, and very small amount of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's slaves are thankful. وَمَا أَصْدَقَ قَوْلٍ. Wallahi, there cannot be such a truthful saying. We are so small in shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The tafsir of the ayah, if you read that Dawood alayhi salam used to have someone in his family worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times of the night. They would alternate. They'll alternate. To his wife, you do the first bit, his son do the next bit, I'll take over the last bit, and they used to change. And Dawood alayhi salam, he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, how do I thank you when all ni'mah is from you? How do I thank you if you're the one who's given me this ni'mah? Who's given me the ni'mah to even thank you? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, oh Dawood, now you have understood the purpose of, now you've understood the real shukr, which is that you can't ever give enough shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you was to count all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you could not do it. You could not do it. Small ni'mah that you wouldn't even understand. All the things that are going on within inside your body now, Allah subhanAllah is so precise that even if it was a little bit out of the way, you would die. If it was too much, just over the degrees of 37, our organs and you know, the process in our body will start going a bit wrong. And a bit too cold, we have to be so perfect when it comes to our temperature as well. Our water intake, our water's percentage inside our body has to be so particular. If the sun was an inch closer to us, we would all die. And if it was an inch further away, we would all freeze. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put everything in such, you know, perfect scales for us. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we've indeed, you know, elevated Bani Adam. The next manner that they had was as-sabru inda al-bala. As-sabru inda al-bala is to be patient when affliction comes to you. Now that you've had all this raha and all this, you know, ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while a little bit of problems touches you and you don't have patience and you start getting upset, and you start getting, you know, putting your hands up and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done this, why have you done this to me, etc, etc, etc. When you don't even know the thing that's come to you, which is bad, might be good for you. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Maybe you might hate a thing and it's khair for you. You know, some of the brothers, when they about to take their driving license, they say, oh Allah, make dua from your pass. Shaykh, that's the wrong dua you shouldn't be making that dua. Dua you should be making is, oh Allah, if there's khair in it for me, then make it easy for me. Because there's so many stories of people that we know of about to get their driver license, and they were khair before that. They were okay before that. At least they were praying. But the minute they got their driver license, what happens? Insan, in the time of happiness, he forgets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallah, he forgets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what did he do? Got into his car, start blazing the music and driving down the dual carriageway. What happened? He crashed and died in his car. That he made dua for. Oh, Allah gave me a driving license. He didn't know they were shutting it for him. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might hold back a thing from you, and you think it's bad at the time, but it's really good for you. Same case of Allah, mashallah. I was told a case of a sister that her baby passed away. Her baby, she just gave birth to, passed away straight away. And she said, Alhamdulillah, this is good for me. You know, how many people would you know that would say something like this? Alhamdulillah, it's good for me. Why? Because I made dua before this baby was born. Oh Allah, if this baby is khair for me, then let me have it. And if it's not, then keep it away from me. Huh? The baby, how would you have not known? She said, how would you have not known that this baby, maybe he grew up to be a munafiq, to be a kafir, and to have something like that on Mainak Yawm al-Qiyamah, to say that he came from my loins, he came from me. Huh? To have that in your household, affecting you and people around you. She understood the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes puts things in perspective. Huh? So, sabr inda bala. It can come in any form. Bala can come in a form of your family, your money, your health. And health, wallahi subhanallah, brothers, don't take it for granted. All of you, mashallah, shabab, young people now. But wallahi, you're going to get old one day. You're going to get old. And wallahi, some of the brothers, when they talk about it now, they say, I remember my old days when I was younger. And he's only 26. Huh? Wallahi, when he was 15 and you get to 26 is a big difference. Something that even when some of us play football now, we have to stretch. We actually have to stretch now. When I was younger, I never used to stretch. Even up to the age of like 18, 19, I was never stretching. But now, 2-minute run, I have to stretch. Because tomorrow when I wake up, there's going to be big problems. Huh? And all the time when you walk into the masjid, ruku', sujood, everything, it's not a problem. The minute you get ill, you're going to remember. You're going to remember. So many videos on YouTube of that brother in Saudi, the one who's disabled in the wheelchair. And they asked him, what would you love to do if you had your ability back? He said, Wallah, I would love to make sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because now when I come to the masjid, I can't make sujood. I'm in my chair, I have to make it with my finger. First thing I would love to do, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me back my health, is to make sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the qimma, the peak of iman. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you so much. When He takes away from you, that's when you realize. Huh? You don't realize it when you've got it. You say what they say? The English phrase that they use. Yeah, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Huh? Allah, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Some people, hatta wallahi subhanallah, when they're married and they have, the wife and the husband, they're together. The husband's always complaining about his wife, this woman, subhanallah, she's always giving me problems. Who is this, who is that, etc., etc. And the wife, she says, oh my God, he never does this for me, he's always out, etc. But when they get a divorce, and she ends up with a worse guy, or he ends up with a worse woman, what are they going to remember? They say, subhanallah, that one, he was so good to me, or she was so good to me. Huh? So, wallahi, subhanallah, you should be thankful for what you have. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He decreed it for you. That particular thing that you have, He decreed it for you. You know me, everyone has particular characteristics. My character is, I have no patience. I'm very impatient when it comes to certain issues. When it comes to teaching children, there's certain aspects, I'm very impatient. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me is my little brother. Very, very troublesome young man. I have problem teaching him. Why? Because he's somewhat slow. So I have to drill it into him, drill it into him, drill it into him, and then he gets it. And that drives me up the wall. I can't take it. But some people, they have complete opposite. You know, some people they like to be so particularly clean, and they end up with a wife who's somewhat, she doesn't really take cleaning seriously. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you through this person. Huh? You might think, why? So some of you guys might have non-practicing families or non-Muslim families. And you think, why the hell did I end up in this family? Look, at least I pray, at least I try to read Quran. Why can't I end up in a family with a dad as an alim and a mom as a mu'allima and my brothers and sisters all practicing everything? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent you to these people for a reason, you know. Huh? As one Shaykh used to say, because he knows that nobody else would even bother chatting to these people if you didn't have to chat to them. You think to yourself, if I was away from this family, we would never speak. You go your way, I'll go my way. We've got nothing to do with each other. Because you guys drive me off the wall. I gave you guys so much da'wah. I speak to you all the time. I tell you guys to pray, etc. You guys don't listen to me. I should go to another group of people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent you to His people to keep speaking to them. Because you can't get away. You're tied by what? Blood. You have to keep in contact. You constantly have to keep giving them reminders. So you never know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might put you in a situation that you may not enjoy, but it's good for you. It's good for you. Hatta when we was in Egypt, some of the brothers, they used to go to so many classes in a day. I know one brother used to go to so many classes in a day. On his way back from one class to another class, he used to think he's going to fall over on the way because he was so tired. In the peak of the summer, he thinks he's going to fall over on the way to that class. Told me about a time when he was walking past and there was dogs there. You know, if you've been to Egypt, there's a lot of wild dogs. And if you haven't got your wits about you, they're going to try and bite you. So he was walking and he said, why am I even bother going to this class? And he goes, no, don't let shaitan get you, keep going. Keep going. As soon as he gets to the class, alhamdulillah, nice place, got mukayif, it's got air conditioning, you can sit down and relax now. But then when he goes home, he's forgot about the problems that he's had. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not. وَلَا يُضِعُ أَجْرًا مُحْسِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does never ever waste the actions of the muhsin. So what now? He's benefiting the brothers here. That brother, he's benefiting the brothers with that class that he used to hate to go to. He used to hate to go to it, but now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened the door for him for what? Khair. To teach the brothers at least. So you think at the time when you're going to that class, I don't know why I'm going to this class. I'm not even benefiting from it. I'm not even listening to what he's saying. When I get there, I'm already tired. I don't understand what he's talking about. But just going there, he's benefiting the brothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened the door for him to get ajr out of other people. Number 6 is one day said, وَخَمْسٌ تَخَلَّقْنَا بِهَا فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. I forgot to quote this to you, said, and they said, وَنَحْنُ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا أَن تَكْرَهَ مِنْهَا شَيْءٍ. We are upon these actions, we will do these manners, unless you hate from them a particular thing, unless you dislike a particular thing from it. And that shows what? Your willingness to change for Islam. Because some of us have attributes from before Islam, or before we was practicing, that come with us, that we can't drop. These people, their willingness to change for Islam. Islam doesn't like this, okay, no problem. I give it up. Maybe in Islam you was a person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He just naturally gave the face of, always like this scratched up face. You always look like you're angry. Islam tells you to smile at your brothers. So you're just, there's some brothers, mashallah, may Allah reward them, they're shadeed. They have, personalities that are very strong. Can't catch him smiling. When you see him, he's always like, got, scrunched up face. You think, what's wrong? Are you angry at me or something? He goes, no. It's just the way he grew up. I'm sure some of you guys know people like that. They just constantly, they never smile. Even when everyone's joking, making jokes, they're not laughing. They're quiet. Unless you speak to them, you okay? He goes, yeah. I'm alright. So, Islam, he tells us what? To be lenient with the brothers, to smile at them. Laugh at your brother, smile, joke with them, ask them how everything is. This person, he has to change his ways for Islam. مثلا a sister, she talks too much. You know, she can't hold water in her mouth at all. Everyone knows it. She can't, you know, tell her something. Has to tell someone, lazim. It has to happen. She has to go tell another person. But Islam tells you what? Don't backbite people. Don't do this, etc., etc. Or even a good manner for the sisters is don't get involved with other people's business. Don't get involved. And I can't stress this even to the brothers and the sisters. Wallahi, brothers, that hadith, when they was teaching to us in Egypt, I was like, yes, mashallah, it's a very good hadith. I only just started to realize the benefits of that hadith now. In Arba'in, he says, from the good attributes of someone's deen is to leave what does not concern him. Wallahi, you get some brothers, they always ask questions about certain aspects of certain things. But they don't do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do it to fit in with the crowd. You know? A bunch of brothers when they're around and they're talking about a particular aspect, you might find a brother, he doesn't know anything about it. But what he does is he goes home, researches it, couple of websites, and he comes back and he goes, yeah, I've got something to talk to you guys about. When he doesn't even enjoy it aslan, just to fit in with the crowd, you know? This is, don't get involved with things that don't concern you. Brother went away, the two brothers are talking, who went away, what happened, etc., etc. Knowing that's never going to benefit you. You know, the brothers that got somewhere in this jama'ah, in other jama'at, is brothers who were concerned with their own issues. Their own issues. I know a brother, he would say, oh Fulan, do you know what happened the other day at that particular talk, etc., etc. He goes, don't talk to me about it, I don't want to know. I don't want to know about other people's faults. I've already got my own issues. Every time you're telling me about Fulan's issue, and did you see what happened with him, and did you see what happened to her, and etc., and don't talk to me about anybody else's issues. I've got my own issues to worry about. If you put my mind in other people's situations, I'm going to forget about what's going on with me. So they said, we'll change these attributes, it's not a problem if you hate something from them. But as we can, from the hadith, they're all praiseworthy attributes. ترك الشماتة بالأعداء. So we said the first one is what? الصبر الشكر عند الرخاء والصبر عند البلاء والرضا بمر القضاء. To be happy with destiny. To be happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as decreed for you. And we covered that in what? When certain things happen to you, you should be happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what is prescribed for you. Because وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Some of the brothers, wallahi, they end up in certain situations that you think to yourself, wallahi, Allah must not like this person, you know. From our perspective, from what we can see, in terms of dunya, it looks bad. You know, their situation is wrong. It looks horrid. But you don't know the khair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from this person. Especially if that person that fell into these issues, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for these issues to happen to them, if they were following the awamir of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to do, they were doing it, but yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still sent them a test. You should envy this person, wallahi you should envy this person. The Salaf, if they would not get ill in a particular year, they would make dua, they would feel worried. Because you know, trials, they're there as a tathir for you. They're there to help clean you. If you don't get any tests in your life, okay, and everything is, you're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, and you get tests, you're not getting any tests, Allah, you should be very, very worried. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, do not perceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghafil, He is unknowing, heedless of what these zalimun are doing. As you can see, some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what they have done to Muslimin and the deen is unbelievable. But yet they're driving around in nice cars, they have their nice houses, their nice food. Nothing's coming their way. This person is going to have by far the worst adab. The worst adab. Huh? Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves them, tamheed, He leaves them to do anything. And the worst thing is the ones that do it from the Muslims are the worst, subhanAllah. Because what happens when you go to the hellfire? There's going to be a conference in hellfire. You know? People are booking their tickets from now. It's going to be a big conference in hellfire. And you know who the guest speaker is? Shaitan himself. He's the guest speaker. But you know what happens? He's going to come, all the people in Jahannam are going to come around him, they're going to say? They're going to look at him and he's going to say to them what? وقال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر إن الله وعدكم وعد الحق. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you a promise. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. And I made you a promise, but I lied you, I belied you. I lied to you. Yes? وَمَا لِي عَلَيْكُمْ سُلْطَانُ إِلَّا أَنْ دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. And I didn't do anything, hold on. You guys are trying to blame me for your problems. I didn't do anything at all. All I did was whisper to you. And you responded to what I said. Huh? How stupid are you going to feel? When someone comes at you, Fulan, you know what you can do? You can rob that bank for me, you know. And you say, how stupid is that person? It's like someone comes to jump, how high? Jump off the bridge, okay, no problem. Huh? You know the moms, they say, because James did it, or Fulan did it. If Fulan jumped off a bridge, would you do it as well? At least Fulan jumped off the bridge, and then you go after him. If Fulan told you to jump off the bridge, and he didn't jump, who's the idiot? Huh? And then he says, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't blame me, blame yourself. Huh? مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِي. I can't help you with anything, nor can you help me with anything. إِنِّي كَفَرْتُ بِمَا. Indeed, I've made kufr, I've left you for what you've made shirk with me from before. I leave you to whatever you made shirk with. I've got nothing to do with you. Shaitan, you think he's got the worst adab in hellfire? Shaitan himself, he has not got the worst adab, that's the worst bit. The one that's causing all of this nonsense, he's not got the worst adab. Who's got the worst adab? Who can tell me?
Hypocrites.
Hypocrites and munafiqun. They're in the worst adab. Worst adab. Read the tafsir of the ayah. إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. الدرك الأسفل is the worst, the lowest bit of the hellfire, the worst, the bottom. You know, Jannah, it gets better as it goes up. The higher you get, the better it gets. Jahannam, the lower it gets, the worse it gets. The very worst, lowest level is the lowest level, and that's for the munafiqeen. It says in the tafsir, fire when it burns, where does it come from? The bottom, right? Comes from the bottom. Jahannam, the flames are coming from the bottom, but with the munafiqeen, they have another layer on top of them. And the fire is coming from above as well. Comes from both. Other people just getting from the bottom, you know. These guys are getting from the bottom and the top. Huh? And there's people in there that you think in this dunya, mashallah, are getting far. But really, Jahannam, you're going to see them. Some people, the story of a man when he comes in Jahannam, the people are going to come to him and they're going to say, Fulan, weren't you the person who used to tell us to do khair? Wasn't you the person that used to say, read Quran, you know, make dhikr, etc., 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 stay away from zina, stay away from fawahish? This person is going to be pulling his intestines around like a donkey around a cornmeal. And he will say, and they will say to him, wasn't you the person who used to tell us to do the khair and stay away from the shar? He will say to them, yes, I used to be that person. I used to tell you, but the good I used to tell you to do, I never used to do it myself. And the bad that I used to tell you to stay away from, I used to do it myself. The shar I used to tell you to stay away from, I used to do it. I used to go to it. And the good I told you used to do, I never did it myself. That shows you what? To be careful with what you're saying. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Why do you do things, oh you believe? Why do you say things that you do not do? So if you know this, if I ask you now, if you don't do a particular action, is it your place to tell other people to do it? Ajibuni. If you don't do a particular action, is it correct for you to go tell other people to do it? ايش رأيك؟
What, you tell someone to do an action that you don't do?
Yeah, that you don't do yourself. It's good action. ايش رأيك؟ ما عليك جاه. You should do it yourself. You should still tell that person to do the khair. You should still tell the person to do the khair. For example, you smoke and you still see someone else smoking. You should tell them you shouldn't smoke, it's not good for you. Even though you're smoking. But what is that meant to do? You telling other people is meant to deter you yourself from smoking. You shouldn't stop doing amr bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar, even if you do the munkar yourself, but you should stop doing it. You telling other people to stop should help you, should be, a propellant to stop you doing the action itself. ولا تنافسوا في شيء أنتم عنه غدا تزولون. لا عفوا. The first خصلة was الصبر عند الرخاء. No, الشكر عند الرخاء. والصبر عند البلاء. والرضا بمر القضاء. والصدق في المواطن اللقاء. To be truthful when the enemies meet. Truthful when the enemies meet. They say يعرف الرجال. How do you know men? When it comes to the heat of the battle. The heat of the battle. And the Arab, they were known for being, very strong when it comes to war. When it comes for Arab to be turned away, to run away, it was a very, very aid thing. Hatta in one of the stories of the Sahaba, when there was a particular, fight between himself and another man, the mushrik was running away. And he was saying to the Muslim, mushrik, do you not have any izzah? And he was still running. Do you not have any shame? He was still running. He said to him, Alasta Arabiyya? He said, are you not Arab? Then he turned around and said, what? He turned around and he said, how dare you? Try and even get, that's such a big thing to say to someone. It's like, are you not Arab? Because it's so well known amongst them. The Arabs will never, he's an Arab man, that's his job. He has to turn around if someone offers him up. He goes, Alasta Arabiyya? Are you not Arab? And he goes, he pressed the dangerous button, that one. He turned around, Mushrik obviously got killed afterwards. And with him, it shows you, الصدق في المواطن اللقاء. You have to be a man when it comes to المواطن اللقاء. And the fifth and final one, صدق في المواطن اللقاء وترك الشماتة بالعداء. And to not enjoy, this very, very painful enjoyment out of, your enemies. When you've really done something to your enemy, it's very, very bad to keep doing something when you know that it's finished already. For example, if you get into a fight and someone's already down and out, it's very, it's not even in the kuffar, as bad as whatever they do, to keep punching someone in the face if they're already knocked out. It's very something, it's looked down upon. And they had these characteristics from before Jahiliyyah. If they've already killed a man, they won't mutilate him. They won't open up his guts and play with him. Like some of these kuffar, wallahi subhanallah, what they do is they have no manners. You see disgusting things that they do to each other. Even when it comes to rules of engagement, wallahi, is despicable. Half of the things that you can't even speak about, wallahi. I feel ashamed to even say it. But these people that have, in Jahiliyyah, these Arabs, these people that used to be mushrikeen, are coming with this. So it shows you, نحن now, what are manners? Even before Jahiliyyah, what did we used to think about morals? If you didn't have morals, wallahi, it's a problem. A person who doesn't have morals, wallahi, he can be guided left or right, especially if he doesn't have Islam. At least someone who got heart, he's not, you know, say, how do you say, stubborn, yeah, hard-headed about particular aspects of their life. They don't do it full stop. Like some kids in school, when everybody else is smoking and drinking, they say, nah man, you guys are funny, what are you smoking and drinking for? They like sports in general, and they don't touch the stuff. They say, nah, this is, only stupid people do this stuff. Because generally, not because of deen, they do it because of what, they like the healthy aspect, they don't want to get involved with that stuff, it's not peer pressure, etc, etc. They say, all of this stuff you're doing is boring, you're going to destroy your body, you're smoking to kill yourself, it's not even cool. You want to look cool by having a cigarette in your mouth, it's not even, you know. This person at least has morals, but the person who doesn't have morals, what's his problem? He's going to be taken left or right. Morals change every you know, the morals of the day change every day. If you speak to some of the kuffar, they have this motto, God just wants me to be a good person. How do you define good? You know? How do you define good? Back in the day, if a woman is being a bit too, you know, loud and funny, that wasn't good. But now to be an extrovert and to speak and to shout and etc. is a good thing. Today, having respect for your mother and your sister is a good, you know, it seems like a bad thing in society now. If you let your sister get away with things like, oh, can you go get me this? Oh, your sister, she does this too, she boys you up, oh. That's what's going on. But 10 years ago, if you didn't do this for your mom or your sister, you're seen as like a, you know, someone lowly in society. You haven't got no chivalry, you're not a man, do you understand? But society is always changing. And if you haven't got Islam, forget everything else. Islam as your foundation to keep you upright, wallahi, you're going to crumble. And how do you gain that? By studying it. And if you don't study, wallahi, you're just waiting for a gush of wind to come to push you over. How many brothers have we seen that come to the masjid, they like listening to talks like this, they come to the salah, 2-3 weeks later he's back on the street doing something else. Why is this? Because he had nothing to stop him from doing it. He didn't have any ilm to stop him from doing it. Wallahi, I spoke to a brother recently. He said, wallahi, the other day I was thinking about doing something haram. But because I've been practicing for a bit and I know the punishment of this and this and this thing, I didn't do it because I was afraid of the punishment. But if you don't know the punishment, then what are you going to do? Anything. Because you don't know what's going to come, you know, you're just rolling with the wind, no problem. Khalas, Allah will forgive me, Allah forgives this. You don't know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can and cannot forgive. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives everything, but إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ Shirk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive shirk. How many people know that what stops them from falling into shirk and not falling into shirk? You know, Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahab's book in Nawaqid al-Islam, to even hate something that Islam has come with is kufr. To hate something Islam has come with is kufr. Now I'll ask you, how many of the little kids now, when you wake them up for Fajr in the morning, they go, I don't want to pray, leave me alone. How dangerous is that? Why are you always waking me up to pray for? How many older people do you know? If you try and wake them up for Fajr, if you touch me, I'm going to punch you. Huh? Wallah, I've got cousins like that. He said, if you touch me, I want to knock you out. Don't ever wake me up for Fajr. I'm going to pray when I wake up. Huh? I'm going to pray when I wake up. Leave me alone. This kind of person, if you push them hard enough, they'll say something like that. If he didn't know that hating something from the deen can put you into kufr, how would he know to protect himself from it? It's a musibah. So otherwise you all, invite myself, study the deen. Learn your deen. So As-Salam said, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. طلب العلم is fard upon every Muslim. Go find out what is wajib upon you. Okay? And wajib upon your family to teach your families. All of you are men here. You're either head of a household now, or you're going to be head of a household. Wallahi, it's nothing more disgraceful than when your son or daughter, somebody comes up to you and says to you, Mom or Dad, can you help me read this ayah? And you can't even help them read an ayah. This is your deen, but when it comes to maths and English and science, you're a top pro. You're helping them out with everything. Huh? But when it comes to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can't tell them a single thing. It's very aib. So I advise you, brothers, take studying knowledge very, very, very seriously. It should be one of your biggest priorities. Wallah, even if you have to take off some days from work and live off minimal amounts of money, do it to study your deen, because it will benefit you. It will benefit you in akhirah. And you know the advice Rasulullah added on, talk about another time, but one of them is وَارْغَبُوا فِيمَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْلِدُونَ. Go and strive for something that you're going to be living in forever. It's not smart for someone to say, I want to go live in a big beautiful house, and he never does any building for it. You know? That person is lying. You're going to die eventually. Where are you going? Do you know what's coming for you in the grave? Do you know what's waiting for you in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Wallahi, some of us are in a masjid now, and sometimes we have this feeling in our heart that, okay, we're going to make it, inshallah. Wallahi, ikhwa, how would you feel on the plane of resurrection when you are on your way, you think you're going to Jannah, and then you're stopped? You say, where are you going? You don't deserve to go here. Yeah? It's a different feeling when you've revised for an exam, or you think you've revised for an exam, and you take an exam and you think you've passed. And you're just waiting for your results, you're not even worrying about it. So the day results come and you go trying to get your results and you look. I say, yeah, look, maybe it's a C or a B, and you look and it's an F and you think, how did this happen? I don't even know how this happened. I tried. It's different from someone who already knows he's going to fail. You go, I know I'm going to fail. You know what? I don't pray anyways. He won't be surprised on the day of judgment, you know. But someone like you guys, us, pray and come to the masjid, listening to talks. Wallahi, how will our situation be on the day of judgment when we think that we're going to Jannah and then we find that we're not going there? Sorry, you're being stopped. No. Afwan, you've got enough somewhere else to go. And I'll end it on that point, brothers, inshallah, to think deeply about this deen, inshallah, and to take something like studying and fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very seriously. Because the qawl, taqillah, rolls very easily off our tongues. Taqillah rolls very easily off our tongues. But how many of us actually fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? هذا وبالله توفيق وصلى الله وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين.